Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I want to address something about design and specifically about design thinking. So, right from undergrad, when I started my education in design, the first thing that we learned was what is design. And through that, we learned what is design thinking. And design thinking became a base of almost everything that we did. Thinking has those 5 steps: empathize, define, ideate, prototype, test, and that was about it, right? We were like constantly preaching design thinking, human centered design, to be able to design for the people, understand them, and so on. But the moment I came to my master's and we started looking at what is called strategic design, the way we looked at design thinking has had completely changed. Like, one of the first videos that I saw as a part of my curriculum was Design Thinking is Bullshit. It's a YouTube video, I'll link it down. But that was where we started, and it was very confusing because we had heard about things where people said design thinking is not enough. It is there are feedback loops, it is non-linear, it has its own downsides, and it's not enough. So we started looking at a larger picture. But coming here, the second thing I learned is design thinking is a process where it is not just these 5 steps. There is feedback at all steps, and how it's iterative, you co-create, it's a collaborative process. And then I learned about how HCD, human-centered design, is a mindset, and both of them are not enough. And in one of my presentations, I talked about this thing called liberatory design, or a design for liberation. And there has been a lot of discussion on this. There is one particular person called Tanya. I'll link her YouTube video as well, to which I referred. And liberatory design talks about how you need to be designing not just for the people but with the people, and you design for a larger systemic or a social change where you look at the histories, the politics, the economies, and then try to design with the audience for a larger change. You're basically trying to understand root causes. One of the examples that we talked about, also through one of my readings, which I will link and reference, is how the New York Public Library and all of the public libraries, they have a lot of skill building programs, where they teach you how to build your resume, where they give you internet access, where they have computers and a lot of resources. But change does not come through this. So the idea of those articles was that just by providing these technology accessibility, something called accessibility doctrine, where just by providing these technologies, you're not elevating, you're not removing poverty, because poverty comes from a much larger picture, where just by providing these technological tools, you can't claim to you're doing something to remove poverty in general. There are multiple systemic root causes. People have been denied entry, people of color, people of different ethnicities, immigrants, they're not even allowed to. There have been so many incidences where they have been discriminated and not given equal opportunity. So how do you solve for that? That is where liberatory design comes in the picture, and where human-centered design or design thinking in general falls short. So that is what we have been talking a lot about. On the same lines, coming to strategic design, how is that different from regular design or regular strategy building? Like, strategy is a very commonly used word now, and the question is, do we even need to label all these terms separately? Just today I was reading about innovation, and then we have disruptive innovation, we have radical innovation, we have so many kinds of innovation. What is innovation? Innovation is creativity plus delivery, according to McKinsey. But why are we labeling these terms so much? Shouldn't design at its very core be something where you drive larger changes? One of the arguments is design thinking starts at a product or a service level where you're very human centric, you don't consider other factors. Just the fact that it's called human centric design, it's problematic, because what about the environment, what about economies, what about animals, what about other things, what about other living and non-living entities around you? So this is something that I've been thinking about, and this labeling of terms like liberatory, systemic, strategic, uh, innovation, radical innovation, disruptive innovation, so many things like that, difference between leadership, managers, it's very confusing. I mean, eventually as I read more, I may understand the value and the need to categorize them so separately, but according to me, just by creating and putting them into different buckets, you are creating a boundary between them where the boundary is not so clear, the boundary is blurred, it's more fluid, things overlap, it's like a Venn diagram, everything, there are a lot of commonalities, but by making definition for them separately, you're just like narrowing tasks, and by doing that you are reducing the possibility of looking at the larger picture, co-creating, because you are separating everything so much. But that is what has been happening, and that is what my thoughts are about my current readings and my current understanding, which will eventually change, I believe, and I may take back some of the things that I said now, given I develop my knowledge further. But let me know what you think about this, and if you're also a designer thinking about same things or confused about something similar, do let me know. That's about it for this video, design thinking and liberatory design, and my thoughts about what I think about these definitions. Thanks for listening to my unfiltered thoughts. I'll see you in the next video.